Hi everyone, I'm Prashant from Jamaldin School, and today we will be discussing regarding communication and internet technologies. Before starting, I just want to explain the whole objectives. So we will be discussing about data transmission methods. We will be discussing like what are the things affecting the transmission. Also, we will be identifying where are the places we can use these methods. Also, we will be discussing about exam related questions. So I think all of you are familiar with the whole paper system. There are two papers, paper 1 and paper 2. So paper 1 will be consisting of 75 marks, which will be like 1 hour 45 minutes. These are the topics in paper 1, and we will be discussing communication and internet technologies. So before discussing, I just want to explain like what is data transmission. Data transmission is the process in which we'll be sending data between two or more devices. It can be either sent in the form of analog, or we can send it in the form of digital. So digital, if you say like computer, understand only digital, right? It will be consisting of 0 and 1. But what if we are transferring to some other devices? For example, like telephone network, we can't use digital there. So we have to go with analog transmission. So data can be transmitted in either analog format or digital format. And also we can transmit either for short distance or for a long distance. Short distance example is here, like from computer to the printer, which is again digital. On the other hand, you can go with a long distance, which is like a telephone network, which is analog. So here there is another term which you have to notice, which is like network. A network is defined as connection between two or more devices. It can be computer, doesn't have to be just computer, a phone and a computer, or like your Bluetooth headset and the phone. These things also can be like networks. So when you say network, two things comes to your topic again. One is LAN, other one is WAN. LAN stands for local area network, which is in a small geographical area. It is categorized based on the geographical area, the area which it is covered. So when you say LAN, it is in a small geographical area, maybe in a room, your school lab, or maybe in the whole school. It can be considered as LAN. But what is WAN? WAN stands for wide area network, which is in a large geographical area, maybe like countries and continents. A classic example for this is internet. Internet is the world's largest network, and it is an example for WAN. So as I said, factors affecting the data transmission. It can be categorized into three: the direction, the method of transmission, and the method of synchronization. Direction, for example, you just seen like from the computer to the printer, right? So it is a direction from the computer to the printer. That is a direction. And method of transmission, whether we are using only one wire or are we using multiple wires, that is method of transmission. And also with the synchronization, whether we are connecting it always or whenever it is needed only, we are making the connection, that is synchronization. So like this, based on the direction, it is categorized into three: simplex, half duplex, and full duplex. Full duplex is also known as simply duplex. On the other hand, method of transmission, there is either serial or parallel. Serial will be using one wire. On the other hand, parallel will be using multiple wires. We'll be discussing all these things in detail. Along with that, method of synchronization, either it can be asynchronous or synchronous data transmission. So we will be seeing these things in details now. So let's go with first one, which is like simplex data transmission. This is the data transmission in which we will be sending data from the sender to the receiver only. We can send the data only to one direction. We can't send it back. Only to one direction we will be sending it. A classic example is here, a radio broadcast. You can't talk back to the radio. You can talk, but radio won't listen, right? The same way, radio is a simplex. Another example is there, TV. Or if you take based on the computer, you can take like computer to the printer, keyboard to the CPU. These things are known as simplex data transmission. Only to one direction we can transmit. So radio do broadcasting. That is the process in which we will be sending the information to a lot of people. That is broadcasting. None of the people can talk back to the radio. That is very simple example of simplex data transmission. Then when you go with half duplex, we can send to both direction, but the problem is like we can't send to both direction at the same time. If we are sending from A to B, we can't send it to like B to A. Only one direction we can send at the one single time. Another time we can send it from B to A. So we can send it to both direction, but the problem is like we can't do it at the same time. Both direction, but not at the same time. Examples are here. Walkie-talkie, you're familiar with walkie-talkie, I think, the police transmitter which we will be using, that is like a half duplex data transmission. If you take other examples, burning to a CD can be considered as half duplex. While we burn the CD, we can't read at the same time. So it can be considered like a half duplex. Example is here. There are two walkie-talkies. When you talk from this walkie-talkie at the time T1, you can't talk back from here. You have to do it on another time T2. We can't communicate at the same time. Then when you go with a full duplex, or very simply called as duplex data transmission, we can send the data both direction at the same time. We can send from A to B and B to A at the same time. That is full duplex data transmission. So most of the things which we use now is full duplex. A classic example is internet. Internet is a full duplex data transmission. If you're playing multiplayer games, it is a full duplex data transmission. Even while you chat in the social networking, it is a full duplex data transmission. So this is the way the communication will be. If you say like simplex, it will be only from a mainframe. This is an example, from a mainframe to a monitor only. That is only from one direction. If you say half duplex, it is on both direction, but not at the same time. T1, you can send from A to B. T2, you can send from B to A. When you say full duplex data transmission, it can be done both direction at the same time. So while you draw in that exam, you make sure that you can draw. That is like, for example, terminal A to terminal B. Also, you have to write transmission is only on one direction. While you do it on the half duplex, you can write like transmission in both directions, but not at the same time. When you do it on the full duplex, transmission in both directions at the same time. You have to write that also, then only you will be getting marks. So a sample question. Now, as I explained, you will be having a confusion like how the questions will be coming on the exam. This is a sample question, which you can see like they will be giving a tick type of question. This is not the only question. This is just a sample question. And you can see here, for example, bits are sent one at a time in a single direction. So only in single direction. So we will be going with the simplex and we will be ticking it. These kind of questions will be coming for this particular area. Then the next thing is method of transmission. Based on that, we will be categorized into serial transmission and parallel data transmission. From the figure itself, you get an idea. Serial will be using only one cable. Parallel will be using multiple cables at the same time. So we will start discussing with serial data transmission. Serial data transmission is a method in which we will be using only one cable to send the data, and one bit at a time that data will be sending. The first bit will be sending, followed by the second bit, followed by the third bit. Like that it will be sending. So obviously from this itself you get an idea like it will be slower, because 1, 1, 1 like that if you send it will be slower, right? But it is favored for long distance data transmission. This is used for long distance data transmission. Data cannot become unsynchronized using a single cable, because like as we are following a pattern like first bit, then the second bit, there is no chance that it is not synchronized. It is only using one cable, so it will be always synchronized. Then obviously as we are using only one wire, it will be cheaper as compared to parallel, which will be using multiple wires. So now you will be thinking like how the cost affecting these wires maximum. See, normal wires, okay, fine. But if you're taking smaller devices, it will be using costly metals to make the connectivity. Even certain components of computer is made with gold-based elements. So it becomes like costlier when you produce it. Then it is safer as compared to the parallel data transmission, because like the error possibility is very less, but obviously it's slower. So here is an example how the serial data transmission work from sender to the receiver. We will be using only one cable and it will be sending in an order one by one. So it is sent in an order, so the chances of getting error will be less. Also, obviously it's slower, and another thing is like only one cable, so it is quite cheaper as compared to the parallel data transmission. So some of the examples, some of the places where we can use this serial is like USB, Universal Serial Bus. So we will be using serial transmission for USB. Other thing are like in your computer backside there are different types of ports. There are serial ports which is used for certain devices. There also we will be using serial data transmission. Now when you get into parallel data transmission, you can say like several bits are sent at the same time. Let's say n bit at n lines. We are sending like, for example, 8 lines will be there. We will be sending 8 bit at the same time. That is parallel data transmission. See, it is good for short distance. We can't use it for a long distance. Along with that, it is more expensive because like we are using more cables. Obviously, it's faster as compared to the serial data transmission. Parallel data transmission is faster as compared to the serial data transmission. Here is an example for this. You can see like we are using multiple cables and we are sending it at the same time. So it is quite faster as compared to the previous one. But the thing is like we are using multiple lines, so it will be costlier. And chances of getting error is more because like let's say all these cables are sending data at the same time. One cable gets slow, so the order of data may be misplaced. So it may be producing certain kind of errors while it sends the data. And obviously it's costlier to implement because like we are using multiple lines. But for faster data transmission, this is a really good method. So where and all we use it? CPU and RAM, CPU and interface card, ICs, integrated circuits on the motherboard. These are the places where we use parallel. So obviously we are using it for the shorter distance. We are not using it for the longer distance.
ತಿಮಾಗೆ ದಾರಿಫುಳು ಹಾಲತ್ಗೆ ಶಿಕಾರೆ ಕವ್ಯನು ದೆವ್ವ ಮೀ ಇಸುಫುಲಂಚೆಯವಾಗುದು
ವಿಫದ ಹಾಲತ್ತವ ಕುಡಕುದಿ ಅಹರ್ಮಗೆ ಎಹಿತರಿಕಂ ಬೇನುವೆ
So here is a comparison between serial and parallel data transmission. Serial use single wire, parallel use multiple wire. Serial is cheaper, parallel is expensive. Serial is slower, on the other hand parallel is faster, and serial is safer, on the other hand parallel is less safer. One of the possible question is that compare between serial and parallel data transmission. Another question may be, what are the advantages of serial data transmission, or what are the disadvantages of serial data transmission? Along with that, what are the advantages of parallel or disadvantages of parallel? These are the possible questions which may come from this particular area. See, why parallel data transmission is favorable for a lot of people? It's very simple. It is faster. That's why it is favorite for a lot of people. But on the other hand, there are certain problems with that. One of the problem is like it is expensive because like we are using multiple cables, and there is a chance of error because like we are sending data in multiple cables. If one cable gets slower, the data transmission pattern may get differ. Some of the possible questions are here. This is again possible questions. These are not the only questions. Some of the possible questions to get an idea like how it will be coming. State what is meant by the term parallel or serial data transmission. Give benefits of parallel or serial data transmission. give one application of parallel or serial data transmission. Some of the answers are here. Later you can check it from the Facebook page, the answers. Now, when you go with asynchronous and synchronous data transmission, it is basically whether we are connecting it always or not. Asynchronous data transmission doesn't make a connection always. On the other hand, synchronous will be making a connection. Data is transfers as a continuous stream of data in the case of synchronous. Now the question will be, if we are not sending the data, how will we maintain the connection? It will be maintained either by sending continuous zeros or continuous ones to maintain the connection. Either continuous zeros or continuous ones will be maintained, and it is a time dependent connection. The synchronous data transmission has to continuously send the bits of data in a regular interval of time. So it is time dependent. It is time dependent based on the CPU clock. CPU clock will be maintaining the timing. Along with that, it is fast, but it has error prone, because like as we are continuously sending and we are not regulating the transmission, it is more into errors. On the other hand, asynchronous data transmission is a transmission pattern in which we will be transmitting only when we want to send a data. For example, like data is transferred in a agreed pattern. Like we will be saying like I'm going to send the data, and also we will be saying like I have finished sending the data. For example, like this. This is the sender and this is the receiver. While I send the data, I'll be informing that I'm going to send the data, and I'll be sending the data, and I will say like I'm going to stop sending the data. So like that, it will be having an asynchronous pattern. So obviously, as we have told the computer or like two devices that I'm going to send or I'm going to stop, it will be less error prone as compared to the synchronous data transmission. So where and all we can use synchronous data transmission, as it is faster, we can use it for the chat rooms or like the online conferencing. These are the places where we can use synchronous data transmission. On the other hand, asynchronous data transmission is a little bit slower, and also it is less error prone. So we can use it for the devices such as keyboard, mouses and all, where we need more errorless connection. Also, speed is not much important. So here is an example for synchronous data transmission. Connection will be always maintained, and here is an example for asynchronous data transmission, where we will be sending a starting bit and we will be sending a stopping bit. This starting bit and stopping bit is also known as control bits. The starting bit and stopping bit of asynchronous data transmission is also known as control bits, where whenever we are starting sending a data, we will be going with the starting bit, and when we stop sending the data, we will be going with the stop bit. Both are known as together control bits. Now, there is a thing called USB. Usually a lot of people will be getting confused whether it is a storage device and all. It's not a storage device. It is a its full form is Universal Serial Bus. Is a plug and play interface that allow a computer to communicate with peripheral devices and other devices. Peripheral devices are any devices basically connected to a computer, such as a printer or a scanner, to connect that, or like to connect with the storage devices like the pen drive. We will be using USB. So what are the things? Generally, you are familiar with USB. Obviously, whatever devices you connect using USB, it will install by itself and start to run. So most of the devices are plug and play devices. When you connect the USB port, you will be able to connect it only through one way. You can't connect it in the other way. So chances of getting damage is very less. And most of the USB devices are backward compatible. If you have a USB version 1 pen drive and you are putting it in the USB version 3 port, still it will work. Those are backward compatible. USB consists of 4 wires, basically 4 wires, 2 for data transmission, 1 for power, and the other for earth. So how many wires are there? 4 wires are there, 1 for power, 1 for earth, and the 2 for data transmission. So what are the possible questions if you ask? They may ask like, state what is USB. If it is a 1 mark question, even a full form will give you the mark, but I'll suggest you to write the full form and the description. Along with that, describe two benefits of using USB connection between a computer and a device. So there are different benefits. One of them is like most of the devices are plug-and-play devices. Most of the companies take it as a universal standard, so it is available everywhere. It is backward compatible. Faster data transmission is available than wireless transmission. So these are some of the way you can answer the question of benefits of using USB. Now, whenever you transmit the data, there are different ways errors may come. Maybe the cable break. Other way is like an interface comes and the data transmission get trouble. Maybe like the bit replacement and these kind of issues happen. So basically, there are 4 types of error checking method. One is echo check. The other one is parity check. The third one is checksum. Then the other one is ARQ, automatic repeat request. So these are some of the methods in which we will be figuring out whether the data transmission have an error or not. So this is very important topic because most of the question papers do have some questions related to these 4 topics. So it's considered one of the important topic. So we will be starting with echo check. From the word echo, you can get the, if you climb to a mountain and you shout loud, it will be coming back, right? The same concept actually, echo. We can use the echo check in a very simple way. Let's say a device A is sending a data to device B. That data will be kept there and also a copy will be made and will be sent back to the device A. So device B will be receiving a data. The data which is received will be made as a copy and will be sent back to device A. Now device A will have the sent data and it will be receiving the copy data. It will be comparing both. It will be comparing and will be checking whether both the data is same. If both the data is same, there is no error. If not, obviously there is an error. And this is not a reliable method of checking the data because like we are transmitting the same files again and again, so the network is used a lot. Along with that, let's say device B made a copy and sending back data to device A. Now there may be an error occur at that process, right? From B to A, there may be an error occur. So we don't know whether the data transmission error occurred while we sent from A to B or B to A. So that again became like a drawback for the echo check. This is not a much reliable method. Next data transmission method is ARQ, automatic repeat request. 2 main things you should always remember about ARQ is acknowledgement and timeout. So this method is taken and used in a lot of places. Even the normal network we do use ARQ still now. So how it works is like a device A send data to device B. Device B has to send an acknowledgement to device A that I got the data. And it has to be sent within a timeout period. If it is not, device B is not sending acknowledgement in a timeout period, the data will be again sent back from device A. So this is how it works. The sender computer transmit a block of data. The sending computer wait a period of time to see if the receiving computer acknowledge receipt of data. After a set of time, a timeout occurs which triggers the data to be automatically resent by the sending computer. This will continue until the receiving computer acknowledges the data has been received. To make it more clear, I have a diagrammatic representation. Let's say there are 2 computers. Let's take it like A and take it like B. A data is sent. Data 1 is sent. The computer send acknowledgement within the time period. Okay, everything is fine. The next time, data 2 is sent and there is a timeout period. Let's say 30 microsecond or 15 microsecond, depend on the settings. So if the timeout happened, then that means like they didn't receive the acknowledgement. The device A didn't receive the acknowledgement. Again, the data will be resent. So this time, the computer or the device B send the acknowledgement. That means it's fine. This is the concept of ARQ, automatic repeat request. So the next topics will be continued. Now I just want to give you some task. You can see it from your Facebook page. These questions you have to go through, try to answer it, and please submit the answer to your teacher using any of the digital platform. So thank you for listening.